Let's go back to the beginning. Let's take audiences back to the beginning here. I want to know what that conversation was like to figure out you guys wanted to tackle the race to survive. Whoever can answer that first.
Um, yeah, I'll kick it off. So I think initially Mikhail was kind of recruiting me to hop into this race. Um, the experience that I had coming into the race, which which I thought would set us up pretty well, is I worked for the National Outdoor Leadership School, so I was used to multi-day backpacking trips and taking students out and teaching them to survive outside. And Mikhail knew that he he just naturally has this competitive mindset. He had just come out of training for a marathon, so we said, "This is we're climbers. We're used to being in the outdoors. Let's go for it. Let's give it a shot. Let's try to win $500,000."
Yeah, and I can also lean in on this. Yeah, when we first learned about the opportunity, I immediately thought, who wants to win? And it was definitely Stefan. Um, but prior to all of this, we've had our friendly competition, whether it's just running down the block or anything. And I knew Stefan had done all his training. He's been bringing people backpacking, and I think most important, Stefan's a good time. Likes to have fun, and I think that's very important for a race of this magnitude. And you don't want to be out there with somebody who's just going to bring down the mood. So, when I learned about the opportunity, I knew 1,000% that Stefan was the right person to go with.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be stuck in a race to survive with somebody that's, boring or just going to bring the mood down because you're already having a mood that's brought down by several different instances when you first kind of get in there anyway, right?
100%, 100%. And and we were tested right off the bat. Like first challenge in, and just like I thought, when it was time to regroup and kind of or really just put the first day behind us, Mikhail, gave us a pep talk and really kind of helped me get my mind right to keep pushing for the next day.
Yeah, what was kind of like that preparation? You find out you're going on the show, you're going to go on the show. What kind of like stuff, I guess, did you guys do maybe together or separate to kind of prepare your bodies and maybe that teamwork to get ready for the competition?
Yeah, I can jump on that. Well, first, as an individual, I knew that I needed to brush up on my survival skills. I know Stefan had all that covered, but I did not want to be the weakest link in that category. So one of the things that I did was uh, I went to some survival classes, learned how to build fires and build primitive structures and that sort of thing. And then, in terms of, I guess, some group activities that we did as a team, you know, I think a lot of it was mindset. I every other day I was sending Stefan messages like, "Hey man, you training? You training?" And he probably has some of those videos. They were laughing at them every day, but I think that was pretty cool. And he would send them back. And anytime I had those, it pushed me to go out and train some more. But we did all sorts of things like bike rides, city hikes, outdoor hikes. Um, I mean,
We
you
were
name
we
it.
were we were in Prospect Park building shelters, and, prepping for the race. So we really used our environment to really get it as much practice in as we could.
I mean, we
Yeah,
were running
so
over bridges. We were
Yeah,
running over bridges with heavy backpacks in the city, like think
yeah.
Brooklyn Bridge, packed with tourists, and we're just like pushing our way through, getting through with these big packs. Uh,
yeah, I can't even imagine. I mean, first off, I just that's just amazing to even think about. This I watch these every year and I'm just like I watch these shows and I'm just like there's no way. Like there's just no I'm sure if you put your mind to it, you can do it, but it's crazy to what you guys do. Now, before we talk about day one, you get there, you're prepared. What's kind of maybe you guys' strategy?
Um, Off the bat, we were trying to we were trying to get ahead. So, which I'm sure every single team had the same idea. Um, but we knew that we had some um, or we lacked some experiences in certain areas when we saw that first map. So we were trying to get ahead at any cost, and you know, and I don't know what I can say.
I can jump in. I
Yeah.
can jump in and
Well,
answer that. Yeah,
I don't
in
know what
terms
I'm
of
allowed to say. Yeah.
no, but I would say in terms of strategy, Stefan, we definitely
Yeah.
spoke about our first rule was not to fight because before starting this
Mm,
race, we
yeah.
like binge watched season one at least 10 times, just taking notes on every little detail that we can get out of the show. And one of the things that we noticed was that the teams that fought the most often did the worst on the show. So we went in and we said, okay, you're an expert in this, I'm the expert in this,
Hmm.
and you'll be the expert here, and we'll go with your decision here. The second part of our strategy was, even though you are the expert in whatever field, the second person you can always veto, right? So even though we're going to go with our best effort, we're just going to do our best to not fight, not waste time on little details like that. Um, Second thing with strategy, I think, we came in knowing that we have a certain level of grit that we can take on any challenge. So if I think from day one, we knew that if we had to go without food, we were willing to do it. Whatever it was by any means necessary, let's get through each of these races. And yeah, strategy was to make sure we finish everything.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely intense. And then you go through that first competition. When you kind of get over the competition, was there anything about maybe your strategy that changed, or was it kind of basically you were on par with where you thought you would be?
I can go. Yeah, so after race one, we definitely, got to see the strengths and weaknesses in all the different teams. And I think after a long race like that, you learn even more about our team dynamic, and we learned where each other was very strong and very weak. So, for example, I think I was the slower one going up climbs. So I think as a team, instead of trying to rush up these mountains and burning out all of our energy too fast, we decided to slow down a little bit, just so that way we can make sure that we'll have the energy to make it up, because making it up is better than just burning out and being out of the race because of that. So that was maybe one example. Another example, one thing that we didn't realize at first was how, I think one of the things we didn't realize was foraging. You can do it throughout the race while you're racing, and I think the second race we decided, as we're as we're racing, we're going to look around in our environment. We're going to try and find, are there any food sources? Because I think at first we were expecting, we'll go to food caches if we have to, and if it's easy enough, but that wasn't the case.
For sure. And of course, in episode 3, we see you guys kind of exit the competition. Take us behind kind of what happened there and what kind of caused this to unfold between the two of you guys.
Um, well, what ultimately takes us out is an injury, and I think it was something that was kind of uh, something that was exacerbated by the fact we didn't eat. So skipping food caches, and not really recovering after going just thousands of miles and covering the ground that we did. I think ultimately led to us getting hurt. So um, it goes back to having to make that sacrifice in the beginning. It, would we do it again? Maybe not. Um, but yeah, it was an injury that took us out. I think we could have stayed competitive if we did eat. Um, but that's not how it worked out.
Yeah, Mikhail, to you looking back, is there anything that you might have done differently, maybe in the preparation that would have maybe kind of altered how you did things?
Yeah, I think it's really hard to think about what I would do different. Uh, I think the most important thing is New Zealand's terrain is very unpredictable and it's very hard to train for. We had usually when you skip across rocks and scree piles, the big rocks do not move, right? That's usually a solid base. In New Zealand, the big rocks move and they move fast. And so I can't say I would do anything different in my preparation. Maybe more physical training, maybe more hiking. But even then, I really can't say that would have helped ultimately because the terrain is very treacherous and very unpredictable. You don't know how deep the holes go. Sometimes they go down to your waist, from the bottom of your foot to your waist, and you just can't predict that.
Yeah, if to, looking back, I think one, I would have I would have wanted to be a little bit more confident in in the navigational choices. I think early on, it really slowed us down in areas where we didn't have to. And then the other big thing is I really did not. I underestimated proper nutrition. You know, the choice to skip a food cache. Maybe that's not. Maybe that Maybe that's not the smartest thing to do when you know that you're about to go on this crazy race and you need every advantage. So I took it lightly. I knew that I knew, oh, we can go a few days. We can go a day or two without being with skipping some food. But yeah, looking back, I think that I underestimated proper nutrition, and yeah, if we could have moved faster by making just some quicker navigational choices, I think that would have helped us a little bit.
Stefan, back to you. What's something maybe that you learned about yourself in that experience on the show?
Mm, the deep one. I'd say my biggest takeaway from the show was, or really just particularly the race was kind of learning to stay focused. And I know it's maybe a bit general, but I think if staying focused on like the end goal of getting to that $500,000, if we had planned a little bit more to achieve that, then yeah, maybe our choices would have been a little bit more, would have been a little better. So you know, I learned that Mikhail and I can go through a lot. I think, and still come out friends. We never really broke the bond between us. We still were into the end. We were making choices together and talking about it. And yeah, I learned. And then, I didn't think I can go as long as I did without eating. That was another thing I learned.
Yeah,
Same question to you.
Yeah, the first thing I learned was, yeah, I can go a long time without eating and I can output a lot. But I guess from a deeper level, like personally, I learned that there's way more in the tank that we think. And, a lot of the activities that we did on the race, it was my first time doing them, like my first time really canoeing, my first time using an ice axe and going down some of these type of terrains. But there's always more in the tank, and that we're able to do more than we think we can. And I think it's just a general lesson in life that just when you may think that you've plateaued, but there's more in there. And even if you're feeling down, there's still opportunity to come back and do more. Yeah, so yeah, I think it's just an opportunity for anybody to get out of your comfort zone and just do the things and live life. Because I got to say, this has probably been one of the best experiences I've had in my life, and I hope it's not once in a lifetime. And one of the things that's encouraged me to do is sign up for an ultra marathon. So I am getting ready for that now, and who knows what it's going to push me to do for the rest of my life, and hopefully inspire others to do.